Hey, what's going on out there, folks? I'm Sean Devine, and today I want to do a new tutorial. It's been a little while since I've done a full tutorial where I just mix a hip hop vocal, in this case a verse, just top to bottom, and let you just really see my creative process and just the thought processes as I'm going through it. So I'm going to do that today, and this track in particular is it's a beat and a hook that I produced with another producer, Jurd Beats, who I work with and collaborate quite a bit. But I did a vocal hook for it as well. And then we actually wrote verses, both of us. I wrote two verses and he wrote a verse just because we were inspired by how the beat was coming out. So I've been meaning to mix his verse, and I figure why not just let you all sit in with me while I do that. So that's what we're going to do. Let me just let you hear I guess a little bit of the hook.
Cause this is real life, and we don't need no more drama, it's true.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day. My only presence in the past, watching memories fade. So I pick up this pen, start to fit, get my pop seeker on, and turn the page. I see you moved on, that was quick. You go your own way, Miss Stevie Nicks. Trying to come back, but it was too late. Now you Tommy Lee Jones, your face, now you Two-Face.
Can I tell you how I feel?
Okay, so that's just completely dry on the verse. I have not processed it at all. I think all I've done is just sent a couple of our layers to a bus. And so let's just start out with some EQ. If I solo this, I can already tell that there's some plosives or like P's, and if I get really close to the mic and I like do a P like that, it will sound like it's distorting, or it's what's called a plosive. So I can hear some of that going on.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate.
It's really just, it sounds like breath, and it's just like low end. So we should be able to treat a lot of that just with our EQ. So let's just roll off everything below 100 or so. But let me just play that back and show you. If we just look at the scope of the EQ, the frequencies, we can see what's there.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality.
So you can see right there the areas, the trouble areas that I was talking about, everything below 120 or so, all those low breaths and air and P's and things like that. That's where all that's happening. So let's just roll all that off. We don't need any of it. And you can use this EQ or any others. Just use a low cut here, and let's just roll off, say about 120.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now
So that's much better. It definitely tames those a little bit and makes it so it's not quite so distracting with the P's and breaths there. So next thing we want to do is, let me mute our adlibs. I don't want to deal with those yet. We'll do those separately. But if you look at this take, or the recordings that he's got here, I want to talk about that just for a second, because everybody has their own way of recording verses and creating their layers. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It really just depends on your voice and how you want it to sound. So if you want to have a thicker presence, and maybe you just want to give it a little bit more emphasis, then you may want to do some stacks, and then we can blend them underneath. Now, I'm not personally, or my personal preference is not to have the stacks to sound really noticeable. They're more of just like a supporting act there. So what I try to do is mix them in fairly low behind the main verse, so you don't really hear the stack, and that's what I'm going to do here.
Save the drama for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in the world. Here we are.
Alright, so before I start blending our verse stack, I want to go ahead and do some compression just to make it a little bit easier for us to hear what's going on and be able to blend our layers a little bit better. So I'm pulling up the FabFilter Pro C. This is one of my favorite compressors. It's a great tool and very transparent, and it's just versatile. It works on a lot of different vocal types. So I've talked a little bit about compression and what these various controls do for the signal, but if you're not really familiar, this is a good compressor plugin to use because it will give you these tooltips. If you hover over something, it'll tell you a little bit about what each of these are doing. So if you don't really understand compression, read a couple of those, or you can just get a quick rundown, but I'll try to give you a couple of tips as I'm doing it that will hopefully help you out. But right now, if I turn the threshold to 0 and we have the ratio at 1:1, it's not going to be engaged. It won't be compressing anything. So if we look in this window, that orange waveform, that's our uncompressed signal. That represents our uncompressed signal. So as we move our threshold, and if we turn our ratio up just a little bit, let's just put it at like 2:1, just so we can see what's happening. So you see right there, as I got it minus 15 dB, this threshold that represents our decibel level, or our gain that's going to be reduced once the compressor engages. But this threshold level will tell the compressor when to engage and how loud does the signal have to be before the compressor engages. So as you move it down, that means at this minus 36 dB level, quieter level, it will engage and it will compress all of that. As we go higher, only the louder parts of the vocal will be compressed. And you can watch this little line here. So it's almost representing like an automation kind of thing that's happening. Like if a mixer was sitting at his desk and he was on a fader, it'd be like he's riding the fader as things got quieter. That's kind of the basic principle of compression and what it does. Baby girl, lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. That's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't. So what I've done is I've adjusted this threshold here, and I've got a ratio at right around 4:1, which is generally a good compression ratio for hip hop and rap vocals. I'm not going to say it's going to work all the time, but it's usually a pretty good one if things are recorded properly. Now, attack and release, I usually will do a very quick attack just so that we can pick up all of the details of the transients in a rap vocal are important and you want it to be impactful. So do a fast attack. Again, it depends on the recording, y'all. So there's no set rules in mixing. You know, there's nothing that's going to work every time. I've talked about this before. If I gave you this exact plug-in chain after we finish, it may or may not sound good on your vocal. You really just have to listen and get a feel for what these things are doing to your signal, and then you can adjust accordingly depending on the vocal and the beat that you're working with, and et cetera, et cetera. But hopefully watching a video like this is going to just give you the experience and the thought processes to approach any vocal. But anyway, the attack, we got fast attack. Release, I'm just going to adjust this by ear. And baby girl, lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. That's fine, cause things change. We'll just put it at like 200 milliseconds. It's a fairly fast release time. Now you'll notice that we have definitely reduced. Baby girl, lost in your eyes, we've reduced a lot of those higher peaks. Baby girl, lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. So what we're gonna do is we're just going to boost the output a little bit.
I'm a for your mom, baby girl.
And the auto is set to on. I'm gonna turn that off. So this is the signal. Let me just turn that back to 0. And this is the compressed signal without any gain.
I'm a for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in the world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live, relationships, something.
So when you compress the signal, obviously it's gonna make it a little bit quieter overall, just because we're reducing those peaks. And we're going to use this gain to adjust our signal. This is called makeup gain, so it's making up for the volume lost in the compression.
I'm a for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live, relationships, something, reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day. My only presence in the past, watching memories fade. So I pick.
So now we can really hear everything very well. So I think we're in a good place to start mixing that stack. So what I want to do is just bring the stack all the way down. And let's just hear what it sounds like with one layer.
Save the drama for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live, relationships, something, reality strikes on. That's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain.
So what I want to do with that one layer is just with the one layer, get that one feeling good. You know, it should feel like it is sitting and meshed with that beat really well, and they're just playing off of each other.
Save the drama for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life.
Now that feels pretty good. Now at this point, I can start slowly bringing in that stack.
Save the drama for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live, relationships, something, reality strikes on. That's fine, cause things change.
Now again, some people might want to bring that stack louder, and if I did that,
Save the drama for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live.
his timing and the takes are very similar, so it doesn't sound too off. But I just, personal preference, I tend to think that you can start to sound like you've got multiple takes going on, and if you can notice that, then I don't necessarily think that's a good thing, at least to me. So again, we're just going to have this as a supporting factor, and it's just going to be just lower underneath.
Save the drama for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes.
You know what? Let's do something fun too. Let's just use this as kind of like a side chain, or excuse me, not a side chain. Let's say it's like a parallel compressed signal, or we'll use it similarly to a parallel compressed signal. Now, I actually did a video on parallel compression in rap vocals, so you can check that out on my channel. But basically with the parallel comp, we're just going to be we would send the dry signal to a heavily compressed track and then mix that in with the dry. So with this, we're going to be doing something kind of similar to that, except we have a different track, different channel. We're going to heavily compress this one and then mix it in with our compressed vocal, but it's not really squashed. This one's going to be squashed, and we'll mix it in.
Save the drama for your mom, baby.
So let me mute that one, and let's smash the heck out of this one.
Save the drama for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live.
And just to give it a little bit of vibe, let's change this style. Let's turn it to like classic.
Save the drama for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many more.
All right, so that's just squash. This is sausage, right? And we're gonna just mix that one back in with our slightly less compressed, quite a bit less compressed vocal.
Save the drama for your mom, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that
So what that does, what it accomplishes, and what I really like about doing that, is it will just bring up the quieter parts. It'll just make everything a little bit easier to hear and just thicker. And that's what we want to do there. It's subtle. So let's move this way, and you can see he did his verse in two separate kind of sections or takes. And I can already tell that the waveform on this one, it's a little bit louder. So it's going to affect the compressor a little bit differently. So what we can do is I can just use some gain reduction here. Some people might not do that this way, but I'm just going to eye it just for the sake of the video because I want to do this quickly. So I'm just kind of looking at the waveform and getting a general feel for volume level. And we're going to be running these to the same bus, but I'm going to copy our compressor, our heavily squashed signal, to our other stack for the second part.
Fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching memories fade, so I pick up this pen. Fears of
And we're just going to transition and make sure that that is smooth.
Many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into.
So let's mute the stack just so I can get a clear representation here.
Many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching memories fade, so
I think I turned it down a little bit too much, because if I'm looking at the meters, let's keep it up, and if we want to go down, we can go down.
Fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching memories fade, so I pick up this pen, start the vid, get my Bob Seger on, and turn the many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching memories fade, so I pick up this pen, start the vid, get my Bob.
So it's quite a bit different in terms of volume level, as you can just watch with the meters. So I'm going to send this to a different bus just to make sure that we do this properly. So let me go ahead and okay, so I have our second part of the verse sent to a different bus. We're just going to process the compressor a little bit differently because of the differences in dynamics, in the performance, and the vocals. So I'm going to copy our EQ over to that bus, and then I'm going to copy the compressor, but we're going to be adjusting the compressor.
Can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past.
And since it is quite a bit louder, I'm going to compress it a little bit more.
Can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching memories fade, so I pick up. Can't replace. Really do your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only.
Actually, let's turn the compressor back just a touch. Really turn the volume down.
Really do your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching memories fade, so mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching memories fade, so I pick up.
So I've turned our ratio up a little bit, and again, I'm just doing this by ear, guys, and that's the really important thing about stuff like this is you need to feel it out, and if it feels right, it is right. So if I'm transitioning and you just kind of, there's something subtle when you're listening to things that you can notice when something's wrong as just a listener. Don't even look at it as a mixer. Just listen to it. And if you were listening to this song,
hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching memories fade.
Would any transition or sound, the way it's mixed, would it distract you? And you don't want it to distract you in a way that takes away from the song. Sometimes you want to distract your listener in a good way by introducing elements and doing cool things. So overall, I think that transitions pretty well. Again, I've done what I could in terms of meshing the performances. So I'm gonna mix in that stack for the second part the same way I did on the first one.
Took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching memories fade, so I pick up this pen, start the vid.
Isn't that nice? I mean, it's subtle, but it just gives his voice a little bit of thickness. It adds some of that warmth that we took away when we did a low cut. So if I mute it, let's just hear it without it.
Took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day, my only presence in the past, watching memories fade, so I pick up this pen, start the vid, get my Bob Seger on, and turn the page. I see.
Just adds a little something, little presence, makes it a little more exciting. So that's cool. And you will notice, y'all, I'm sure that I'm sending that heavily compressed signal to a bus that then has another compressor on it. And again, that's probably not the correct way, but since we're compressing this thing already, we're basically limiting this and just squashing it anyway. It doesn't really affect it to then send it to something else, and we're not worried about overly compressing. If anything, that's what we're going for with that. So just to clarify, you might not do that normally, but in this case, it's not something to worry about. It's okay. And again, y'all, there's no wrong way to do this stuff. If you can take from my approach and you find something that works for you, awesome. But try different things, get creative, do it your own way, and see what works, because it's all about what feels right to you and what facilitates the process for you, what makes it fun, what sounds good, what makes you feel good. That's, as a mixer, as a musician in general, that's all you're going for. So don't get too worried in, step-by-step processes, doing the same thing every time. You don't want to get locked into too much of a ritual of doing this stuff. You got to be fresh with it and really have fun. So let's move on and let's start mixing in our adlibs. And as we can see, he's done 2 adlibs, and it looks like they're the same in terms of the actual delivery, but he's just done 2, and then we have a left and a right, which a lot of hip-hop artists, I do this myself, makes for a more exciting mix if you can pan 1 wide left, which we have here, and 1 wide right. So let's just unmute those, and we're going to send those to their own bus, because we want to process those separately from our main verse vocal. So we've done that, and now I'm going to copy that EQ again, because we don't need that low stuff, we know that. And I'm going to copy the compressor, although we're going to compress this one quite a bit different. So I'm just going to turn it to clean, and let's just play it back.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live.
And I've got them turned down right now. I'll turn them up just a touch.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our...
And ad-libs, I tend to compress quite a bit more heavily, because you're not really, with a rap vocal anyway, you're not really trying to achieve a lot of dynamics with these. They're more for emphasis. So you want to hear them very clearly, and you want them to punch through the mix. So we're going to compress them, squash them a little bit.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, then reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change.
So you can already hear, just immediately when I did that, it really made them poke through the main vocal, the mix. And the way you mix these is really to taste. Some people like them really loud. Other people like them to be more of an emphasis thing, like I was doing with our stacks. But in this case, I really like, I like these ad-libs, the punches. So I'm going to make them a little louder.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, then reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears are the...
Okay, so let's just jump in here and start adding some effects to the vocal, or the main vocals, to make them a little bit more exciting. And I'm going to EQ our main vocal line a little bit, and for the sake of example, I'm going to use a linear phase EQ, which is a stock plugin that's included with Logic. I know some of you don't have the same plugins that I'm using in some of the videos. That's perfectly fine. You can definitely use stock plugins and still get really good results. So why am I using a linear phase EQ versus a regular EQ? I'm not going to go into too much detail about what linear phase is and what it is in terms of EQ, but all you really need to know is that it will give you very clean results, but it's a little bit more resource intensive than, say, the regular Logic EQ. So I prefer to use the linear phase when I'm boosting things. It just sounds better to me. You can check it out and see what you prefer. But again, just be aware that if you use a lot of these in your session, they are a bit more resource intensive than a regular EQ.
Can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day. My only presence in the past, watching memories fade. So I pick up this pen, start the vid, get my Bob Seger on, and turn the page.
So we're gonna EQ this first one. Remember, we're in different segments here in terms of the performance, and just for the example, I'm going to be doing them separately, but I'm just copying them over. So let's open up the EQ.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that.
So if we look at that curve, you can just see that things are a little bit lighter in the high end.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life.
So I'm gonna hit that, and we're gonna cut some of this really high stuff, but watch what I'm gonna do here. We're gonna do pretty big boost. And we can narrow this Q a little bit. We're gonna be boosting up here around 10, and then I'm gonna dip this back down so that we're not getting too much of that super high stuff.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. But that's fine.
So it's sounding harsh right now, which is fine. We're gonna put a de-esser on it and deal with that. But a lot of you have heard what I've done with the SSL EQ by Waves, and I pretty much just did the same thing that I would do with that with this stock plugin in Logic. I'm just boosting up, around 10K that to give it that sheen, that presence, that brightness that is really pleasing once you put a de-esser on it. So let's follow that up with the Waves de-esser, and this is a very affordable de-esser. I mean, I want to say they offer it for like $20 or something sometimes. I mean, you can pick it up cheap, and it's very, very, very resourceful.
Save the drama for your mind.
So let's just load up the male S.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on.
Now, as I've talked about before, be really careful about how you use a de-esser, because if you get too extreme with it, like if let's just load it up.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes.
Number one, you lose all your top end. Now, if we go to the next extreme.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strike.
You can start to get effects like giving people lisps that they don't have, and just things that don't exist. So you want to be really careful about how you use the de-esser. Don't go overboard with it.
Save the drama for your mind, baby girl. Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace.
And just listening, I've used this a lot, and so I just increased the frequency just a touch, because I can hear that they're engaging at a little bit higher point, or we want to engage it at a little bit higher frequency. And then once I start to hear it pulling back on those harsh sibilant sounds, then we're good. You don't want to go too much above that.
Loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. But that's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days.
And I want to point out that a lot of times, people are just like, they don't want to hear any kind of sibilants or S's or anything like that. And it's okay. That's part of the performance. Some people's S's are really crisp. Like my S's are, I think, probably a little bit more present than maybe other people's voices. And that's okay. That's part of the performance. We're just trying to make it to where it's not distracting. You want to be able to hear all those things very clearly, but we're not trying to, take away from the performance and the natural sound of the performance.
Save the drama for your mom.
So let's copy that linear EQ and de-esser over to our other
Fears of tomorrow turn
section.
Fears of tomorrow turn into the day. My only presence in the past, watching memories fade. So I pick up this pen, start the vid, get my Bob Seger on, and turn the page. I see you moved on, that was quick. You really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day. My only presence in the past, watching memories fade. So I pick up this pen, start the vid, get my Bob Seger on, and turn the page. I see you moved on, that was quick. You can go your own way, Miss Stevie Nicks. Tried to come back, but it was too late. Now you're Tommy Lee Jones of your fix, now you're Two-Face, real talk.
Can I tell you how I feel?
Alright, so that sounds pretty good. Now we need to add a little bit of space to the vocal, just the way this beat feels, and also the way that I processed my verse. We don't want them to be too different, but
Through the flicks, saw your new pics, block you on the Instagram quick. See you got a new man, he ain't nothing to me, ma'am.
so my verse is a little wetter. It's got more verb on it, so we're gonna just even them out a little bit. So let's go over here, and what we'll do is I'm gonna send both of these now to the same bus, just so I don't have to keep copying things back and forth, and we can put the same reverb on them. So I'm gonna send those to a new bus, and I'm also gonna send our dubs or our adlibs to that as well. Now, in terms of reverb, let me just go ahead and label this. Let's say verse box. I'm going to do a bus. So we'll bus that to 19. And I'm going to use Valhalla just because it's got a big vibey kind of sound.
Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. That's fine.
So you can hear that's just too much, and we're gonna EQ the reverb.
Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. That's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate.
Turn down the decay time.
Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on.
EQ it a little bit more, and let's change this color to 80s.
Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. That's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me.
Ah man, it's lovely. See, I mean, just a little bit of space, a little bit of reverb does a lot for just the vibe of the vocal. So we did that. And now I just want to add a little bit of a delay to his vocal just to excite things a little bit, make it a little more interesting. So I'm going to put the echo boy, and you can use any delay, any echo, doesn't matter. You need to fix this. See, it didn't lock to tempo, but I'm going to type 115 in there, and we're going to send that to bus 20, which is where this is.
Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on.
And I want a fast echo.
Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. That's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day. My only presence in the past.
I'm just playing with a couple of different styles here.
Lost in your eyes, caught in your world. Here we are, loving our life, the way we live. Relationships sunk, the reality strikes on. That's fine, cause things change. It's hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew your ways, but that mistake took from me many months and days I can't replace. Now my fears of tomorrow turn into the day. My only presence in the past, watching memories fade. So I pick up this pen, start the vid, get my Bob Seger on, and turn the page. I see you moved on, that was quick. You can go your own way, Miss Stevie Nicks. Tried to come back, but it was too late. Now you're Tommy Lee Jones of your fix, now you're Two-Face, real talk.
Can I tell you how I feel?
So you can see at the end it clipped a little bit, so I'm just going to throw a limiter on there just to make sure that it doesn't go too far above 0. So we'll just turn that down to say like half a dB.
Lost in your eyes, real talk.
Can I tell you how I feel?
Fears of tomorrow turn into the day. My only presence in the past, watching memories fade. So I pick up this pen, start the vid, get my Bob Seger on, and turn the page. I see.
Let's just reference my verse here and make sure we're not too far off.
While we share, go get up, it's all up, twisted.
Hard to maintain when you can't relate. Thought I really knew you.
Memories, trying to find a follow-up.
So very different verses, very different deliveries, different mics, all that. But I'm looking to make sure that volume-wise and just presence-wise, they match pretty well and flow into the hooks.
Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face, real talk.
Can I tell you?
And one thing that you can hear that two when he says two-face, it's a little bit harsh. So what we can do there is we can just automate our vocal right there just to turn that T down just a little bit. That's all I want to do. So I'm going to go to verse vox. I'm going to turn this to latch.
Real talk.
Can I tell you how I feel?
Oops. And then I'm going to move over.
Real talk.
Can I
Just give me a little time and I'm just going to bring it back right at that point.
Tried to come back, but it was too late. Now you Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face. Tried to come back, but it was too late. Now you Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face, real talk. Tried to come back, but it was too late. Now you Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face, real talk.
Can I tell you how?
So that was close, but not great. So I'm going to go in now and use my pencil and get it a little bit better. We'll just zoom in here, and that's the T. You can see it's really harsh. So now that I can see it, really closely, I'll just bring it down right there and start bringing it up, back up. Let's see what that sounds like.
Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face, real talk. Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face, real talk. Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face, real talk.
Can I tell you how?
Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face, real talk.
Can I
Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face, real. Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face, real talk.
Can I?
Tommy Lee.
And we may want to just copy that to our other channels here. So I'm going to copy and paste onto these adlibs because I think it's happening there as well. And again, I'm doing this real quick, y'all, so it may not be perfect, but
Tommy Lee Jones of your face, got your two-face, real talk.
Can I tell you how?
you get the idea. It's still a little bit harsh, and it may have distorted a little bit in the recording, so I would need to go in and do some more. But if you've got something like that, you can just automate it, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to fix it with that. So anyways, y'all, that's just a quick mix on another hip-hop verse. Showed you some compression, showed you some EQ tricks, as well as a little bit of parallel compression type of effect on there, and also just adding a little bit of space to the verse to make it more exciting. So I hope you all picked something up from this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. If you have anything you want to see in future videos, let me know, and I look forward to talking to you soon.